Hi, everyone. My name is Sheila Irespi. I have been a Toastmaster for 13 years. I belong to 3 clubs. I belong to Merck West Point Toastmasters, Eastern Penn Advanced Toastmasters, and in-person Toastmasters. So because I'm part of 3 clubs, I think Easy Speak allows you to capture all those speeches that you do in all 3 clubs more efficiently than FreeToastHost. But that's one of the benefits. Now, what is Easy Speak? Easy Speak is a club management tool, simply put.
And Sheila, for my visibility, your screen is half off, more than half off the screen. It's not centered.
Oh, it's half off?
Mm-hmm. I think we're seeing your notes page.
Yeah.
Let me fix that. Give me a second. New share.
Okay.
Screen 1. Now, do you see my cartoon?
I do now.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Why should we do Easy Speak? It's free. All of us love free. Today, I will review the basics of site navigation in Easy Speak and how to manage a meeting. My cartoon is kind of funny to me, but didn't we use the word easy? One of the things that I find hilarious is that we have these club meetings, but there are times in which we are herding cats to see people fill roles. How many people can relate? Yes. So this tool, as well as FreeToastHost, allows you to herd cats. It's great. Now, what exactly is it? It's a one-stop club management system. It's a tool. It's only as useful as how you use it. What it does, it allows you to fill out your agenda, hopefully before the meeting starts. It gives you structured reminders via email. It allows volunteers to sign up. It fills out attendance and gives you the actual roles and speeches that actually occur. And the number one benefit for Easy Speak in my mind is it tracks members' progress. So we are able to do communication reports and leadership reports and manage their speeches. So what happens if you have Easy Speak? It really depends upon what part you're at. If you're at startup, that means that we have to do a little bit of the working to get it started. So we have to add your members and add the speeches. That usually takes a month or a month and a half, depending upon who you work with. And then we transfer it over to the club. And there they are able to run their meetings. What I recommend about Easy Speak is running your meeting with Easy Speak has to become a habit. It only becomes a habit when you use it. We find that people who use it 2 or 3 times in a row, they start to use Easy Speak more confidently. That's what we want. We want people to be confident when they use Easy Speak. Now, in District 38, there are about 32 clubs that use Easy Speak. Division A uses it the most with 10 clubs. So that's 21% of the active clubs use Easy Speak. We have another option in Easy Speak, which we call summary clubs. So even though they're not in Easy Speak, we have all the clubs in the district in there, but we have basic information like where you meet and your officers, but they do not use Easy Speak for their meeting management. I believe that encouraging people to use better tools to track and support their members will greatly strengthen the club and thus District 38. There's my plug. So what do you need to know if you're a member? You have to know how to log in. You have to know how to access an agenda. You have to know how to take a meeting role, request a speech, create a profile, and lastly, a knowledge map, because there are times in which you want to find out more information. The first one, how do you log in? Like any login, it starts with a username and password. When you get started with EasySpeak, you have a username created for you, but you can change that username to whatever you want. For me, my username is Gryffindor HP because I'm a Harry Potter fan. So that is my username. You can actually change your password to whatever you want to. And if you use this computer a lot, then you just click the box for Remember Me. So you do not have to type in your username and password every time you're at that computer. And if you forget your password completely, then you just go to I forgot my password. One of the questions I get asked is, now, does this EasySpeak login password talk to Toastmasters? No, these are completely different. Toastmasters does not talk to EasySpeak. These are completely different systems. So this is a completely different login and password. Just telling you right now. Now, when you log in, what happens is you enter the homepage of your club. Here, you can edit it however you want. Usually this is done by the Vice President of Public Relations, where they can talk about their club, they can talk about their mission, they can talk about their tips. At the far right of the screen, it tells you where they meet and what this club is associated with. And it also tells you whether this club is a community club or a closed club, meaning it's only for eligible members. Now, on the very top, you have a meeting tab. At the meeting tab, this is where I recommend members go to the most. This is where you find the meeting that you want to attend. 4 down, you find the meeting on August 30th. You click onto that. Before I click onto that, on this screen, they also have an agenda for mobile device. What's great about EasySpeak is it allows you to look at the agenda on the go. So let's say you have your cell phone and you want to check to see whether or not you can be an evaluator. This allows you to go to your mobile agenda and click to say, yes, I will attend. That's just one of the features that we have in EasySpeak. So when you're in the agenda screen, at the top right is the agenda itself and how you print an agenda, because a lot of people like to have a printed agenda. So if you print the agenda, it will take you to a printed page of the agenda. Next screen, which is on the lower left, a printed agenda. What I mentioned earlier is a mobile agenda, which is accessible through the same mechanism. You just go down to the mobile agenda, and that's on the upper right of the screen. What is different between the two? The mobile agenda is simplified. There's 2 buttons, yes, no. It's basically black or white. Are you going to attend or you're not going to attend? On the left, on the lower left, you have a lot more detail in your agenda, which is great. Now let's talk about this agenda a little bit, filling it out. First thing I tell members to do is you go to the center of the screen and confirm your attendance. Are you going to be there or are you not going to be there? So you show up at the very top because you're the top. And you say, yes, I'm going to attend. No, I'm not going to attend. Or if you might have 11:30 meeting and it might run over, then you can be a question mark. One note about this is only accessible through the desktop. There is no question mark in the mobile agenda. This is only available, the question mark is available on the desktop. While you're there, let's say you're going to attend this meeting, you want to take a role because we're Toastmasters, we want to fill roles. So what you want to do is go to the far right and see what roles are available. And on this screen, we have odd counter, grammarian, table topics master. So what you do is you go to that part and you have a drop down which lists all the members alphabetically. And you choose your name. And what happens next is icons show up. And it has the thumbs up icon or the thumbs down icon. So if it's thumbs up, you want to be Eye-Counter, then you say, yes, I will be Eye-Counter. So you feel thumbs up. If you can't attend and can't be Eye-Counter, then thumbs down. So it makes it simple. Fill out the agenda early. Now, how do you request a speech? Now, what's great about Easy Speak is there are many ways to request a speech. At the top right, we have request a speech, and we have it on the left-hand side under my participation, request a speech. It takes you to the same screen. This screen shows you request a speech, and it asks for specific information, like your speech title. What is your title going to be? Now, like most people, you don't know what your title is. So what I recommend is to put TBA, to be announced, and you fill that in before you give the speech. Another thing you want to fill in before you give that speech is make sure you fill out that speech introduction, because you want to make sure that the Toastmaster knows exactly how to introduce you. So if you're an expert on Legos, you're giving a Lego speech. In the introduction, mention how you're an expert with Legos. So put that in there. The next screen is what pathway you're working on. For this case, you're working on motivational strategies in this example. So you click the radio button on what level speech you're working on, and it tells you exactly the amount of time of that speech. One thing I want to note about this is that see how to the right you see a clock? That means that the Vice President of Education actually assigned that speech to that person. Now, when you're requesting it, it's a question mark. It only changes into a clock when it gets confirmed by the Vice President of Education. I hope I don't. And the third item that you talk about is you want to give yourself options. You want to say, hey, you know what? I might give that speech on August 30th, but I can also give it on September 27th. So you fill that in depending upon your availability. Another item that Easy Speak allows you to do is it allows you to send out emails. This is optional because at my club, we do not use the Easy Speak mechanism for sending out emails. But this is great because all the member emails are in there. So you can send out emails through Easy Speak. But you can do what I do at my home club, and we send a link to Easy Speak so they can sign up for member roles that way. But if you do use the email, you can use a template. So you can tell people, hey, we have a meeting. How about you attend? You can send it to a specific group of people, like your guest list. You can send it to your members. You can send it to special guests, whoever you want to send your email to. After the meeting, you want to finalize the actual agenda. So you also want to update the attendance. Who was there? What roles did they have? What speeches were there? What were the titles? What was the project? All these items you can fill in. You can also process any visitors. You can send a welcome email to the new people. And you can connect existing users and add new users. Once that's all done, you can close the meeting because you have no more edits. Another tool that Easy Speak has is member management. So you're able to connect existing users to the club. You can also change the status of members because there are a number of times in which a member might leave the club. So they're on the guest list now, rather than being an active member, or a visitor becomes a member. You can change the status of the member easily through Easy Speak. It also allows you to reset passwords, which happens a lot. Now, one of the things about EasySpeak that you have to remember is that you try not to duplicate EasySpeak users, because EasySpeak only has one user per email. That makes it a little easier when you switch from club to club, because you have the same user ID and password for each of the clubs, which makes it nice. Under the user list in EasySpeak, we actually have access to a profile. Let me go to the next screen. The profile is where you can put your username, you can put your email, you can put personal information like your phone number or your address or your LinkedIn account or whatever you want to add. And you actually are allowed to limit the access to this information. You can only make it available to club members, club officers, or the entire public, depending upon what your comfort level is. Now, this is the screen that got me really involved with EasySpeak. This is an example of a club chart. This tells you exactly where each member is at, what level they're at. What I did when I started EasySpeak in many years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, is I used EasySpeak along with FreeToastHost. And I used EasySpeak to keep track of the member progress. So I used it in the back end. So you can make it complementary. So it doesn't have to be one or the other. It can also be used in combination if you wish.
Sheila, I do have a question. Can I interrupt you for a question?
Let me get to the end of this.
Okay.
I'm almost at the end. Okay. One of the things that we also have that's great is that we have people helping members. We have the Vice President of Education. We have the IT support. We have members that can help you wherever you're at. So it's great. Here are a couple mechanisms we have. We have the knowledge base, we have forms, we have training videos. And let me show you an example of the knowledge base. In the knowledge base, they ask you these questions like, hey, how do you create a poll? How do you change or connect a user data? Because a lot of the questions that you might have, there are questions that someone else might have had. So you can look at these questions that people already had and you can find the answer right then and there. So it's great. Another thing that we have is we have training videos based upon what role you have in the club. Club member, club president, VPE, VP of membership, and it's pretty current because it's 2021. So you can find out what your role and what you can do in EasySpeak in that role. So it's great. And lastly, we have EasySpeak support, where you can send an email to me. And if I don't know the answer, I will find the answer for you. Or I will kick it off to Malcolm, who started EasySpeak in Britain, and he will find the answer for me. And okay, Rhonda, go ahead. What's your question?
So the question that came to mind was a couple of slides previously where you had all the project completions for each member. Who would actually make the update in EasySpeak, and how do you get credit for speeches performed or delivered at other clubs or in other outside of your normal club meeting?
Okay, let me first start with who controls the agenda. Usually it's the meeting manager, and it's based upon who that club determines is the right person. For some clubs, it's the Toastmaster of the day. Other clubs is the Vice President of Education, where they close out the agenda at the end of the meeting. So that's how they update the meeting agenda. How do you get credit if you're speaking at another club? Now, if that club also uses Easy Speak, you don't have to do anything because it's already in there. Now, if it's outside Easy Speak, like they only use FreeToastHost or another mechanism, then there's a mechanism which you go in and then do an outside the club, and you get credit for that. So there's a way to put it in after the fact, because I did it yesterday, actually, because I delivered a speech yesterday. So it's very easy. There's actually a way to do it and how to in the knowledge base. I hope I answered your question.
You did. So there
Okay.
was, so there was another follow-up, but who puts it in? Only an officer, correct? So I think you referenced the meeting manager. So can you tell us who would normally take on
It's
those
the
roles?
officers, yes. Unless they're a Toastmaster of the day. Now they're Toastmaster of the day, then they will be able to go in and update it over. So if you're Toastmaster of the day, let's say you're not an officer of the club, but you can go in as the Toastmaster of the day and update it. I have a question. Scott, go for it.
Hi, Sheila. How are you?
How's it going?
Good. A couple of questions. One is on having a mailing list for people that are prospects and suspects. Can you create that without creating an account for them?
Now, no, because every account, even if it's a visitor, has to have an email, has to have a valid email. So
Right.
you cannot, and
But
they'll
this-
be notified,
yeah,
they'll
so-
be sent an email to say, hey, you got added.
Okay, but you can't add anybody, just have a standalone mailing list for prospects, people that come as guests. All of a sudden they become an account holder.
No, it's not, it doesn't do it automatically. You actually have to
yeah.
create a username, yeah.
Right, but you're putting that in, and then we do that and they get something where now they've got an account and it's in there, and it creates some issues. We're wondering if it might be an impediment to them joining and kind of be intimidating. Okay, but the next one is how
Next
much
question.
of this, how much of the site can you mark off as private? Is there a table where you can indicate which pages are public, which are private?
Are you talking about the profile?
No, well, this would be for anybody coming in, for like a guest that, let's say they're just visiting your website.
Well, it's not accessible to anyone who's not part of your club. So the guest list will not have access to the.
I know, I'm not talking about the guest list. We've actually had some people that come in and found a way to do it, and I found a way where you can come in and add yourself, add an account and then be out there, and all of a sudden you're a mystery person. And so you could have fishing people or whatever, people that want to, or whatever. Anyhow, the question I have is, as far as there's a lot of information out there, a lot of pages that really do not provide any value to a casual visitor or somebody that just wants to find out about your club or Toastmasters. Is there a way of, like a table where you could indicate these pages are public, these pages are private?
I think there is a way to, it's on the back end on what exactly is allowed for guests and what's allowed for members. I think it's through the web design. I think it's through in the back end, because I know that Collegeville uses it to, broadcast to people who aren't part of their club, but they're part of the site that if you're not part of their club, you can access. So does that,
Sheila,
I think there is a mechanism.
Sheila, can we take a follow-up? I did jot a note down so we can follow up and get something more definitive out to Scott and others. And meanwhile, Shirley has a question in chat. On the select a speech page, are all levels for all paths up to date? Just because, we had the recalibration of some of the paths. Have they
you
been
select-
updated?
Yes, when you select your path in EasySpeak, you have to look to see that you're picking the correct one, because they have like a new and old in brackets. So you just have to make sure you know when you started your path to see what you're working on, because I have a path that was started after it changed because I wanted to see what it looked like. So I had to choose the right pathway. So it's in the drop down, but they did take that into account.
Thank you. And Leslie has her hand raised.
Go ahead, Leslie.
Hey, Sheila.
Hi.
Okay. Hi. Okay, I'll make this quick. You said that EasySpeak can be used in concert with FreeToastHost.
Well, you have to use it. It will have two separate logins, and they're not talking to each other. But yes, you can, because they're both free. The only thing is it's just more work on the executive board end to keep them up to date.
Are people using it primarily because, and maybe Art will address this when he gets into FreeToastHost, because it does appear that you can track members and where they are in their paths. Like, I love that you can see where each of your members are. Is that what the primary?
It was originally designed to be used in combination with FreeToastHost to track members' progress. So the management aspect got added later on. That's based upon what I heard. I might be wrong, but
Okay. And then my
so
last.
yes, you can use it in combination.
But that's still, even though you said this is still independent of the Toastmasters website.
Yes.
So
So
a
it's
member will still-
FreeToastHost. It's independent. You
Gotcha.
you have to use different logins.
Okay.
They don't talk to each other. Nothing talks to each other.
Gotcha. So a member would have to, while they see where they are in the path on East here, they also have to make sure that it coincides with what's on Toastmasters website as far as pathways and whatnot as well. Yes.
Yes,
Gotcha. Okay.
I
Thank
think
you.
that's the case.
Thank you, dear.
No problem. So did I give Art a lot of time? 7:07. Yes, I did.
You're good on time. You can take a few more questions if you like.
One of the questions, I'm just gonna keep talking for a minute.
Gail has her hand up.
Oh, cool. Go, Gail.
Hi there. I have a question. I noticed when signing up for a speech that you can sign up in advance.
Mhm.
What about other meeting roles if you wanted to sign up in advance? Is that
Yes,
ability there?
there
Okay.
is an ability there. Under my participation, one of the drop downs, you go down, is sign up for meetings, plural. So there's 4 meetings in a row. And in that screen, you can look at your calendar and say, you know what? I'm going to be at the September meeting and the October meeting. So I'm going to sign up for 2 roles. So it does allow you to do that in advance if you have your calendar out, but it only goes 4 meetings in advance.
Okay. And then another question is, if I noticed when signing up for a speech that it pulls up your pathway. If you're in multiple pathways, do all of them pull up?
The ones that are in the system.
Okay. Okay.
So you just have to make sure that you're selecting the right path, because I have multiple paths. So I want to make sure I'm choosing the right,
Yeah.
level. So
Yeah. And I'm VP of membership and I'm for my club, and I'm thinking about when I set up a new member in Toastmasters.org, that would be a great time to set up the person in EasySpeak. Who usually does that setup, initial
your
setup?
webmaster usually does it. If
Okay.
your club has a webmaster, what I do at my home club is I have them go through a number of websites, because we have the Toastmasters.org and show them pathways, as well as the EasySpeak website. So those are the types of websites I walk them through. It usually takes me 30-40 minutes, so it doesn't take too much time. But I don't want them to be overwhelmed. I usually give them too much information. They're like, ah. So I try to simplify it as much as I can.
Okay.
And the
Okay.
same is the case for FreeToastHost. You want to walk them through the website so that they start using it.
Great. Thank you so much. It's been a huge help. I appreciate it.
I think I have Jimmy. Go, Jimmy.
Thank you very much for taking my questions. I'd
No
just like to know, have you come across any limitation of Easy Speak?
Yes.
And what are they?
Some of the limitations of Easy Speak. One of the things is we usually have troubles with emails. Sometimes I have to work with people to whitelist that email because they see the Easy Speak link or email as spam. So we had to work with them to get it so that people are able to get the email. So that's one thing I've found.
Okay.
Another thing that I found, because I can talk for the negatives, because I can look at the positives and the negatives. One of the negatives, I wish, this is on my wish list, I wish they did have an app. They don't have one. I wish they did.
Mhm.
So they're not as high tech as they could be, but they do allow you to access that mobile agenda as I talked about, but there is no app as of yet for this Easy Speak site. And it's
Thank
only as
you.
good as the club keeps it. So we can activate your club, but if you don't put information in, it's not very useful. You have
That's
to keep
the
it up to date, but that's true for any management system.
That's right. And thank you very much for the
No
answer.
problem. Scott, you have another question for me? Your hand's raised.
If not, there's one in the chat. You mentioned Malcolm in the UK. If you
Yes.
face serious issues with Easy Speak, could you elaborate? I believe Malcolm was the developer of Easy Speak.
Yes, Malcolm is the developer of Easy Speak. And what's nice about Malcolm is he does address it in the help, because everyone who has access to Easy Speak has this mechanism which you can put it in the form, and someone who knows what to do responds. And if they don't know, usually it's Malcolm that figures it out for us. Because you have to remember that all the volunteers that work for Easy Speak are volunteers, just like Toastmasters are volunteers. So they're doing this on their own time, and they're doing it because of the love of Toastmasters. So you have to remember that all these people are volunteers, and they're just trying to get this to work and help the club.
Thanks, Sheila. There was another hand raised, and I think she put it down. I'm not sure why.
That's okay.
Are there any other final
Maybe I answered-
questions?
Maybe I answered
Lakeisha,
before.
here she is.
I was trying to chicken out, but okay, thank you, thank you.
I called you out.
Thank you so much. Actually, you addressed my question by letting us know that all the individuals are volunteers. My club is National Industries for the Blind. Therefore, there's some individuals who are blind, and we're finding that some of the tools provided by Toastmasters aren't that accessible.
Oh.
And we have had challenges with people not being able to sign up for roles and do some things within Easy Speak.
Okay.
So
One of the things
it may be an opportunity for us to partner, or maybe see if something we can actually do to help in that function.
Okay. I do know that there is like a computer buddy system that is in Easy Speak. So if there's someone who can help the person put the roles in for them, I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud.
Right. And of course, if someone is typically what we're doing is someone sighted can't do that for them.
Yeah.
Yes, it would be better if they could do it, like you said, if they had an app or something.
That would be nice.
It's not something along those lines. But
There
it's
are-
maybe something we can help with.
Sheila, is that something you can take back to Malcolm? Because this is, Lakeisha, this is not a Toastmasters International tool. This is something that we all use as Toastmasters and club leaders. So this is not developed by Toastmasters themselves, but maybe Sheila can contact Malcolm and see if there's an opportunity to partner, or if there's any development that can be done for maybe site accessibility.
In
And
my
that-
mind, I don't think they will update Easy Speak per se, but I know that if we bring it to people's attention, there will be a group of people that will work to get this addressed, not through Easy Speak, but through another system that Toastmasters finally gets out there eventually.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Thanks, Lakeisha. So Sheila, you are at time. Thank you so very much. I learned a lot, and I hope everyone else did too. Sheila is our resident expert on all things Easy Speak. Last year, this year, and this is probably not the second year. Sheila, you can correct me if I'm wrong if you've been
No, this
in
is
this
my
role.
second,
Oh, second year.
but
Okay.
I have been with the Easy Speak support group for close to 3 or 4 years. So I've been on it for longer. I can also help with pathways and toastmasters.org or whatever you need. I'm here.
Okay. Good to know. And I have it recorded, so you can't back out on me. And I
Okay.
have witnesses. Thank you,
There's
Sheila.
70
Great job.
witnesses. Lovely.
Great job showing this alternative. Now I'd like to segue over to Art Farnsworth, our resident expert on all things FreeToastHost. Art, please, as a preface, would you please give us a 60-second commercial on who you are, some of your background, and then let's just dive into the material. Please let me know if you too want to reserve questions for the end of your presentation, or if you would like to engage with the audience along the way.
I would prefer to have the questions asked at the end, since there is a dedicated portion for that.
Okay. Well, the time is all yours from now until 8 p.m. So you budget it how you choose.
I will speak very slowly to take advantage of all of that time. Just kidding. I have been a Toastmaster for, I don't have the day count today, but let's just say since 2003. That's 19 years on and off. I achieved DTM 4 or 5 years ago, I suppose it was, pre-COVID, which is of course the baseline by which we measure everything nowadays. Oh yeah, I remember getting my second car. That was, when was that? Pre-COVID. And I have been the FreeToastHost District 38 support person for the past several years. What does my badge say? At least since 2021. And just within the last calendar year, I was asked by the FreeToastHost support people, the developer and the people that are at the top levels, sort of the Malcolm, if you will, of the FreeToastHost world, to come on as a FreeToastHost ambassador, which means now I have the level of expertise which they consider to be adequate to assist people from around the world with their FreeToastHost matters. And that also means I can access any club that I want to help them in that endeavor. I suppose that's all I need to do as far as an introduction. You can look at that bio slide that Young May put together for more information if you're so inclined. But let's just dive into this. Once I find the proper screen to share, that would be this one, I think. And what is showing up? Just the slide, or slide plus notes and stuff?
Just a slide.
Good, I did that correctly then. Very good. Welcome to FreeToastHost. I am going to hopefully achieve my goal this evening, which is familiarization by you club officers and members with the features and functionality of this very handy club management system. Whoops, I'm sorry, hang on one second here. I have to figure out how to do that the proper way. There we go. All right. Nope. Oh, scared me. Did that? Nope. Let's try that again here. Where am I at? Yes, that's where, no, I'm sorry. Pushing too many buttons. No, that was where we already were. All righty. I updated the numbers, which I've been keeping track of for the past 2 or so years now, as we've been doing these presentations, Sheila and I. And I wanted to share with you this evening the current statistics, which were culled from the D38 site back in late June. Nothing much has changed when you look at the number of clubs that are using Easy Speak and the number of clubs that are using FreeToastHost. But what I found perhaps to be the most sobering statistic here is that coming from January 2021 through August now of this year, we're looking at a decline in the number of clubs that aren't using, and I'm sorry, a decline in the number of clubs that are using a club management system of some sort. That might be because we have a few new clubs and we have lost some clubs, but there are, and here's the point, in excess of 27% of our clubs in D38, which are not using any system whatsoever, at least not that I could determine. And that's, I believe, the overarching reason why we are once again here this evening making this co-presentation, to let you know that there are 2 very helpful, no-cost tools available to help you run your club efficaciously. Therefore, here's the agenda for my session. What are we going to learn tonight? We're going to find out what it is, why we might want to use it, how to get it, and how to use it. Lastly, if we have time, which I suspect we will, we'll take a quick gander at the club calendar and treasury functions. But in a summary statement, FreeToastHost makes it easier for members and officers of a Toastmasters club to take care of club business. Let's dive in. Firstly, by asking ourselves, what is FreeToastHost? Pretty much the same thing as Easy Speak. It's a club management platform. It's a comprehensive package which provides most of the functionality required to effectively run a Toastmasters club. How does one get it? I'm sorry, why use it rather? It's a single place to go for all of your club management and communications. It adheres to branding requirements. You don't have to type up an agenda in the word processor and try to finagle all the times to line up with the speeches and things like that. That's old news. This is good news. And as is the case with Easy Speak, there's no cost involved. Now we'll find out how to get it. You browse to the URL shown highlighted in yellow there, toastmastersclubs.org. That calls up the request a website page. You scroll down and, well, let me go back to that for a second. There's one thing I wanted to point out. It's a bit outdated, but there's this video user guide here on the left, link to that. And that takes you through a video, which is about an hour in length, that was produced by the designer, the originator, Bo Bennett of FreeToastHost. That is something that I relied upon when I was first learning the system to find out whether or not it was something I wanted to introduce to my home club many years ago. There's a short form to fill out, which gets submitted. But down at the bottom right, review the quick start guide. That's a very important thing to do. That helps you understand what you're getting into and what to expect. But it's very simple. Not much information is needed to request from FreeToastHost folks your site. And there you go. We the Speakers site. One of the first things you're going to do is get your membership database set up. As Sheila explained with Easy Speak, there is no pipeline between Toastmasters International and these club management systems, which means to get things rolling, the site administrator is going to log in for the first time here, and he's going to go to the membership management module. This is the membership database. And to try to kind of answer Scott's question, was it Scott? No, it was something about guest list. We'll get to that in a bit. Anyway, we'll go to the membership management module, and you have to log into Toastmasters International, extract from the from Club Central, the membership roster, and distill that information down to just the 3 fields, the 3 pieces of information that FreeToastHost wants to see, which is name, email address, and phone number. The how-to presentation that I've prepared gets into that with screenshots, but that's not part of this presentation this evening. But once that membership table is set up, now all of your members can actually set up their account. Let's look at how to do that right now. Firstly, an invitation link is set out to the people that have been added to the membership database. That provides them a link to come back to FreeToastHost and set up their account. The member clicks on member login as shown on the left, and then we'll establish her profile by starting to type her name. Once you type the first several characters of your name or email address, the system, since you're in there, recognizes you and populates the field. You then click on the Authenticate Login button, and the system goes and sends you via another link through an email back to the site where you establish your password. It's not something that's established by the site administrator. It's yours. You set it. And if you forget it, that sounds like a Ronco commercial. Set it and forget it. Then you can, as in EasySpeak and most other systems these days, click on the I forgot my password link and do it all over again. Great. I have an account set up. What do I do now as a new member? I would suggest you edit your profile. Now all these links are enabled in the members only menu. There are a number of panes that are available once you get into editing your profile. I'd like to highlight something that I harp on here. The very first button, the yes, no choice there, make your profile public. By selecting yes, you're going to have your profile appear in the Meet Our Members list that the public can access to learn about who's in the club. It's a presentation of the club's demographics. No personal information is ever shared, just the name, the title, your headshot, if you include it, and some biographical information that you enter. We go through the various screens. I believe the next one is the place where, and Sheila intimated about this in EasySpeak, you can enter your various social media links, such as LinkedIn, etc. You can also see in the middle of the screen there, the place to enter your biographical information and upload at the bottom a photograph. What does this all look like once you're in there and you've done this profile setup? Ta-da! Wow, look at that studly guy at the top of the list there. All of your social media links will show up, and you can see that it just shows, this is very outdated, this is when I was a CTM, just my name, my Toastmasters credentials, my officer position, or it would be member if I didn't have an officer position, the bio information I entered, my headshot, and the social media links that I entered. That's what it looks like. But now folks can go browse to your website and get an idea of the makeup of the club. That might greatly influence their decision about whether or not they even want to show up as a guest. Let's move on now to the how-to parts. How do I get on the agenda? We'll look first at how one signs up for a non-speaking role. Once logged in, and you can see down under the members only menu on the left there, the first entry is meeting agendas. The member clicks on that link and is brought to the agenda as shown here for the upcoming meeting. Scrolling down, she finds one of the available blue sign up buttons next to a role she'd like to take, and she clicks on it. Once she does, then the sign up button goes away and her name appears.
Stop crying before I put you outside.
What is that? Okay. In this case, his name appears, which is moi. But I just decided that I really don't want to be quote master after all. What do I do? Aha, I'm glad you asked. In the smaller box shown there, there's that little X. You click on the X, and then you are removed from that role. I want to be timer. So I scroll down on the agenda and I sign up to be the timer in the manner I just described. The reason I want to stay on this for a moment is because, and a number of clubs out there can attest to this, I have developed worksheets or logs for meeting role participants for a number of clubs. We the Speakers, in-person Toastmasters, Professionally Speaking Club, a number of clubs. And those worksheets, which can be uploaded to the FreeToastHost file repository, then are available to the members, the people filling the roles, via the highlighted here member downloads link. That's how your members and officers get into the files storage section. All right, what did I just say? I want to be the timer. I go into member downloads. I find the worksheets folder. This is a folder that you create or your administrator creates. It's not one that's already there, but I can help you get that set up. Click on the folder. And once you do that, it opens up and shows you, voila, as they say in France, the worksheets that are available for download. Most of them are simple PDF files. You click on the one you want. FreeToastHost presents you with a standard file download dialog box where you can download it to your computer and then print it out and bring it to the meeting. What I am proposing here, folks, is that when you are serving in a role and you've signed up for it in advance, that you then come prepared. Great, we get to a meeting, nobody signed up to be the odd counter, somebody has to fill it, somebody volunteers at the meeting. Fine, that happens. It happened last night. That is the time when you can have a supply of these worksheets on hand in your club supplies folder at the meeting. But I'd like to get people to be responsible and mature about selecting a role so that they come prepared to serve in that role, rather than expecting someone else to bring the worksheet that they need. Let's be responsible for our role as a meeting participant. Now we know how to get on the agenda for a non-speaking role, but what if I want to give a prepared speech? Let's take a look at that. We're logging back into the system. We're clicking on the agenda button and going to the agenda that we wish to sign up for something at. In this case, I want to be a prepared speaker. You can see that there is a place to enter the path or manual, the speech title, and the speech introduction, very similar to the Easy Speak system. Sheila showed this, I believe, or alluded to it. When you click on the Choose Path project, then it expands and it shows to you every single Pathways project and every single level thereunder. It also, for legacy purposes, provides you with a way to select a non-meeting or other speech with various time intervals. And you can go back if you're going to do that, and these are still valuable. You can present one of the successful club series or better speaker series or leadership excellence series, canned speeches, the slideshows from Toastmasters International. All of those are still in here, and you just have to go and select which one you want. You enter a speech title and a well-crafted, did I say well-crafted? I'll say it again, well-crafted, please, prepared speech introduction. I came up with a template for our clubs, my clubs, for the speech introduction. It solicits from the speaker information about him or herself, what the objectives are. We share those with the people that are in attendance so that everybody in the room knows what this speaker is hoping to attain. And then lastly, introduction material for the project itself. There's a link right below that box. Enter a complete introduction for the Toastmaster. That takes you, I believe, to the page on the TI website, which gives you more information about how to fashion prepared speech introduction. And I also suggest that you go to the Toastmaster Art YouTube channel and check out the Preparing a Speech Introduction. That would be Better Speaker Series presentation, so that you can find out just what's involved in creating something more effective and more informative than. Our next speaker is Art, and he's talking about cupcakes. Please welcome Art with My Favorite Cupcake. Boring, useless, no good, no good. But I see that way too often. End of rant. At the bottom of the agenda, another helpful resource in FreeToastHost. If you know you are not going to be at a given meeting, then you can enter something explaining that in the meeting notes box. I'll be away. Maybe you want to put in here, we're having a special election tonight for a particular officer position. And there's also a place at the top of the agenda where you can indicate your attendance. You don't have to leave a note, but it is a courtesy to the Toastmaster of the day when she at the last minute is scrambling to fill roles, to be able to know, oh, gee whiz, Art's away and he can't make it, so I'm not going to call him or email him because he's not available. What's next? We're on to some of the ancillary features. Here's a screenshot of a long time ago club calendar page. When you generate a club meeting, it asked you generate an agenda. Then those show up, as you can see here on February 9th, with a light blue background. Then a member or the administrator can add extra things. For example, on the 9th, I wanted to put in there that we were having a Love is in the Air themed meeting. Also, since I believe I was an area director or division G director, go G, back in those days, for Saturday the 7th and the 25th on Wednesday, I put in links for a TLI training we had out in Camp, I remember that one, Camp Hill, and then the club international speech and evaluation contest on the 25th. And also, oh, there you go. Yeah, Division G training on the 18th and 26th. Those events could be added as well. You can set links in there so that if, for example, I were to click on the Saturday, February 7th, it would take me right to the event page or the sign up page or the calendar page, whatever it was at the time for that TLI event. Oops, I guess I shouldn't have clicked. The other and last feature here I want to touch base on, again, no in-depth dive because that is part of the how-to training video, is that there's an entire section set apart here for the treasurer, the dues function. Okay, so the stuff on the right doesn't have any relation to that. That's just part of the screenshot. But once you get in there, then there's a way to communicate with your members, reminding them that dues are due, tracking the dues receipts by type and date and such. Very, very helpful functionality for your club treasurer. The VPM also has the shortcut link. When she logs in as a member, it'll say membership management right on that the members only menu. So she can go right there to the membership database. Let's wrap it up. As I see it, FreeToastHost offers benefits for your members, your guests, the Toastmaster of the day, and your officers. And it boils down to this. FreeToastHost makes it easier for your members and officers to take care of club business. Thus, in conclusion, I hope that you now have a basic knowledge of the benefit, features, and functionality of the FreeToastHost club management system. If you need, before we get to Q&A, additional assistance, then this comes with your FreeToastHost system. A link to the training video, which I talked about earlier, a link to the support site. This is online documentation, he said, which is very thorough, which includes screenshots. And there's also a forum there to which you can post inquiries or find answers to your questions. It's sort of like the Easy Speak knowledge base, but in a different format. And if you're still stuck after doing all of those wonderful things, then you can reach out to moi at the email address shown on your screen. That is my presentation, and I am sticking to it. It's time for questions and hopefully answers if you have any. Alrighty then, hearing none, it's cocktail hour.
I have a question.
Who?
Me.
You're not allowed to ask questions, are you?
Sure, why not?
Okay, yeah, sure. Yay, Sheila has a question.
I have a question for the cases in which it's a hybrid meeting. How do you handle hybrid meetings at your, because in Easy Speak, it allows you to tell when people are there and when people are in person. Do they have the same mechanism in FreeToastHost or no?
You, when setting up the meeting agenda, declare the forum, and that could be, for our club, it's Plymouth Meeting Friend School. For the last 2 years, it would say Zoom, but there's no hybrid functionality per se built in to the club management system. No.
It's just a little difference I noticed. Okay, thanks.
It's not to say that you can't have a hybrid meeting, of course, but the folks at home would access FreeToastHost as they needed to from their home computer. And then if for some reason one needed to access it at the meeting site, then that could be done as well. I don't know if that's really what your question is, though. It's
I
not so
think it
much
was more about attendance.
about
So,
the
was
attendance.
it more
Yeah,
about
it has to do with attendance
It-
because a lot of the clubs are doing hybrid.
Yeah, but Sheila, if
Oh.
someone's attending the meeting, you mark them present. So it doesn't matter to what Art is saying, it doesn't matter
Yeah,
the
sure.
format or forum. It doesn't matter if you're in person or behind a screen, if you're
think
presently
only-
inactive.
It only applies if you're the Toastmaster of the day and you want to know who's going to be at the meeting and who's going to not be in person, but be virtually. That might be the reason, is for planning purposes.
I
Okay,
was gonna show that. Where is it? Oh, yeah, it says it's there. Oh, there. Oh, yeah, just look at the wrong screen. Here is an agenda, a recent one, actually the next one for we speakers. And here is the icon to go in and edit the attendance. Oh, here's that thing at the top, what it said, are you planning to attend this meeting? But anyway,
But Art, she's just saying from a planning perspective, if you're Toastmaster of the day, you may want to know if the functionary will be in person versus virtually. So
Okay,
not just
no.
present, but what format that person would attend the meeting.
no, it's thumbs up. It's question mark, to use Easy Speak terminology, question mark, thumbs up and thumbs down. That's it.
And Jimmy has his hand raised.
Sure.
Thank you, sir. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I just want to briefly tell you the situation. I'd like to get your thoughts on this one thing. Our meeting had two halves. The first half was led by a chair, and the second half is by the Toastmasters. The chair portion of the chair's function is very complicated. He will run, or he or she will run a business meeting. In that part, there's three portions. There's a past last week's minutes. There's an officers' reports. There's new businesses. Now, our agenda currently has a time allotted for each of these portions. My question for you is, can FreeToastHost set up the agenda in such a way that this row has three parts and each part has a time attached to it?
I'm quite sure that I don't fully grasp your inquiry.
So Art, in other words, can you customize your agenda for your club's preference? They start with their business meeting and they want that to be a specific timing and then go into the other parts of the meeting.
Sure. I mean, it comes with templates, but everything you see here on the screen is a result of my template. I designed a new template. Well, I have quite a few templates, but I designed a new template and defined all these roles. So for example, if you wanted to have as the first order of business session, and I've seen clubs that do that, well, they're usually at the end, then you add that as the first item when designing your agenda template. And then you simply go right down the list and lay out the agenda template based upon the actual desired format and structure of your club meeting.
And timing, Art, can you speak to that? That you
You
can
allocate-
customize the amount of time you
Okay,
allocate.
let me do that. Let me go in and show you. That's just slugs. All right, this is actually editing the agenda. You see, I've allocated 0 minutes for the meeting greeter, 1 minute for the president to bloviate about whatever's going on. Oops, I shouldn't have done that. 4 minutes for the Toastmaster to get things going, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then on the left, and this is why, as part of the early part of the presentation, I said no more fiddling with a word processor and juggling times around. When I say 4 minutes for the Toastmaster here to do his thing, then it automatically says, great, started at 7:01, goes to 7:05, and everything cascades right down. And if I add a new role and drag it up here and plop it in the middle, all those subsequent time slots are updated
Yeah,
as
I
well to
understand.
reflect the change.
By the way,
Does that
I am
answer your
following you
question?
very well. But so let me just ask my question one more time. You talk about 4 minutes for Toastmasters. Okay, just focus on that. Say the Toastmasters role has 3 parts. Part A, Part B, Part C. And Part A takes 1 minute, Part B takes 2 minutes, Part C takes 1 minute. How can that be reflected in here?
It would have to be 3 separate line items. Toastmaster, and then where it says reviews, meeting roles, and agenda updates, that would be whatever the explanatory text, if you wanted to have any, that explains
it.
what Part A is. You'd have to have 3 separate lines, one each for Part A, Part B, and Part C.
Got it. Thank you. I got my answer.
And Jimmy,
Okay.
if all 3 are being facilitated by the same Toastmaster, you may
Yeah.
just want to have that as a Toastmaster, a generic one-liner instead of 3 distinct. I'm not sure the reason to have 3 distinct.
I don't know that either.
Unless they're at some time going to be occupied or encumbered by someone different.
Well,
You don't want
sometimes.
your agenda to be too complex and cumbersome.
Exactly.
Ooh, ouch, ouch. You're right. The agenda is very complicated.
I've
And
seen
that's
that down at a club in Georgia this summer, where every time the Toastmaster introduced the next person, there was a line on the agenda that said Toastmaster introduces this person, Toastmaster introduces that person. And it was well into the second page when it was printed out. And I asked them why, and they said it's because we want to have the guidance on there for our newer members to know exactly step by step what's going on. Okay, I understand that and sympathize with it, but it really became rather cumbersome to page through this very complex agenda.
I agree, Art. I see that too sometimes with our newer clubs that just take the standard templates and they'll use those, but I do encourage them to get rid of those lines because it makes it look more complicated and it's more dense than what it needs to be. There's another question from Mary. Can members add their own bio info in the Meet the Members section, or is it officers that can add the bios for all members?
No, you must have missed that part. That was covered when I talked about editing your profile. And here's my profile. I logged in as me. Now, to answer your question more specifically, though, the very first line here, if this is checked, your club admin can edit your member profile for you. I like having that ability as the admin. Why? Not because I want to mess with somebody's name or something stupid, but rather because then I can go in and enter the member's Toastmasters member ID number. I can enter the date that she started with the club. If there's a problem with one of the fields or her bio has all kinds of typographical errors, I can go in and fix things there too. But you, the member, have access to all of these various tabs underneath your member profile. Does that
Thanks.
answer your question, Mary? There's the bio.
We'll let Mary respond via whatever method she chooses. Meanwhile, here's another question in chat. Why is it that FreeToastHost has a much higher adoption rating as compared to EasySpeak? Both of them seem equally capable.
They're not equally capable. For the final answer, I would suggest consulting your Magic 8-Ball. But my understanding is, not my understanding, I know for sure that as Sheila showed on that screen, sort of the VPE behind the scenes screen with all the blue check marks on it, EasySpeak has a more in-depth tracking system for a given member's progress along the leadership and, well, again, the leadership and communications paths. Whereas FreeToastHost does track it, but not quite to that level. As to why FreeToastHost has more acceptance and use within District 38, and I can only speak for our district, I can only guess that it comes across at least as being simpler, not so complicated. And I've heard that, and Sheila can probably attest to it, that we do hear from folks on occasion about EasySpeak where they say it looks really complicated. And I have an EasySpeak account, and quite honestly, I find it to be a bit complicated to figure out where to go. Of course, as with FreeToastHost or any other system for that matter, there is time for familiarization, but once you become more adept with it, then things go more smoothly. But that's the impression I get. EasySpeak is and looks to be a bit more complicated, whereas FreeToastHost, I guess, is and at least looks to be less complicated.
From my point of view, I think that EasySpeak has more bells and whistles. FreeToastHost is simpler. And when I approach newer clubs, I do recommend FreeToastHost at times because it's just a simpler layout in some ways. But if you really want to get into the details, then FreeToastHost is the better avenue for people. It really depends upon your comfort level with technology, actually. Because I find people that use EasySpeak and they love EasySpeak, and whenever they go to that club, they want to start EasySpeak. And there's other people who just like FreeToastHost, so they just use FreeToastHost. So
yeah, it's not like you're going to pick one or the other and say, oh crap, we really goofed up. Either way, you're going to have a club management system, a tool there to help make your club life easier. It's just a matter of preference. And that's why, I'm sure Sheila would agree, we have these presentations so you can get a taste in advance, if you've not yet chosen a management system, of what the two major ones are all about, so that you and your officers can choose wisely. When I first got into FreeToastHost years ago, I was in the technical presentations advanced manual, and it was the making a proposal project. And thus I introduced FreeToastHost to we the speakers at the time via a proposal. It was a slideshow, and I said, I'd like to have our club implement this FreeToastHost system, and here's why. And a lot of that presentation is still extant in what you saw this evening. It's a proposal. Why should we use it, and how do we use it?
Thanks, Art. And one of the other things that Sheila mentioned may be a clue. Sheila said that EasySpeak was developed maybe as an accompaniment to FreeToastHost, which implies that FreeToastHost debuted first. So maybe that also contributes to the adoption rate more of FreeToastHost because it was first, more people are using it.
I know not when the two systems were introduced, and the idea that the two have some sort of relationship, that's the first time I've heard that is this evening.
Yeah, same here. And Ari is validating. He thinks that
don't know whether or not that's true or not. But it says Ari mentioned that FreeToastHost was introduced to District 38 before EasySpeak. So a lot of clubs got into it first and adopted it first. So that might be reason why FreeToastHost is the prevalent one in District 38.
Right.
But if you go international, there's a lot more EasySpeak clubs.
And I also think that you can pull reports, the base camp managers. Hopefully you all as club officers know who your base camp managers are. This was one of my quiz. my quiz questions right, Art. And you should be able to pull a report on where people are in their path. Obviously, it makes it easier, almost like one-stop shopping using Easy Speak, but you still have that functionality if you are a Basecamp manager to pull that report.
But it's not one-stop shop. Don't get lulled. Remember, Sheila and I both explained there is no direct line or link
Correct.
between TI and our systems. So if you're thinking, great, well, I'll update Basecamp and say that Betty Boop just finished level 2 in whatever path. Guess what? Easy Speak doesn't know about that, nor does FreeToastHost. The VPE or whomever has to go into the respective system and update that data there as well. It's sort of like when a person finishes a path or a level on a path, the Basecamp manager has to go in and not only update that person's progress in pathways, but also in, what do I want to say, Club Central? Oh, darn, it was part of the training. It's a two-step process. What am I having?
Yes. Because you have to go through pathways, but you also have to go through Club Central.
Right,
The
yeah,
Basecamp and Club Central.
correct.
We had to remind people when I was area director.
There's 5 minutes remaining. Any other question?
Oh, as a brief aside, I did record my officer training breakout session for secretaries from what, 2 weeks ago, a week ago? I made a special, I didn't record the actual session itself. I went back and made a video of it, of the presentation, and put that up on the Toastmaster Art YouTube channel. So if any of you are club secretaries and you want to look at a blast from the recent past, then let me know and I'll send you the link.
Thanks, Art. If there's no other questions, thank you all so very much. Please encourage all of your club officers to be trained. Again, this is not an exercise in checking the box. This is enabling your success and that of your club officers and members, areas, divisions, and ultimately the district. Thank you all very much. Have a good evening and happy Tuesday.
Thanks.
Today's
everyone.
Tuesday or Wednesday? I don't even know what day it is.
Tuesday.
Tuesday. Happy Tuesday.
Bye. See you
Thank
later.
you.
Yeah,
Thank
both
you all
of
very
you.
much.
Thank you. Have a
Thank
good
you all.
evening.
Still had her hand
Good
up.
job, Art.
I'm sorry, someone had a question.
I thought there was somebody with a hand up still.
I don't see it in the,
I'm not
it
on
would have
gallery.
popped up for us.
Yeah, it was up on the.
They
Oh,
probably were clapping.
no, it was a clap and it was a hand. There was both symbols. Nope.
Brian, I have a quick question. This is
Hi,
Jermise.
Jamise.
Hello. I wanted to know if this, I want to go back. There were some tips and I'd like to review them on the recording. When will the recording be sent out?
Probably in the next day or two. Remember, just subscribe to the YouTube channel. And if you hit the bell there, you'll get the notification. That's if you choose to. If not, just check back in a day or two.
Okay, thank you
I
so
should
much.
be able to turn it around pretty quickly.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good night.
Good night.
I guess that's it for questions.